the driving force behind the annual Money Conference for Women, and her office was a founding member of the Connecticut Jumpstart Coalition. Please join me in giving a warm welcome. Give her a nice applause, everybody. Denise Lynn Nappier, the Honorable.
I'll probably forget it, and then I'll trip. And then maybe I'll get my money to balance the state's budget. It's not a state facility, is it? It's like we can't sue ourselves. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I want to start off by thanking Mike for the gracious introduction. Now, okay, Mike and I have known each other since, well, back in the day. I can't believe he didn't tell you that. And I walked in here and I said, wow, you look younger than your pictures. So, I think most of us do know that Connecticut's like a Peyton place. You know, you're eventually going to connect the dots. So, oh, where's my other card? Let's see, it's Federal Reserve. That's in Washington. I walked in here and someone says, your name is Nappier? And he says, I think I know somebody that you might know. And it turns out it's my brother. And he's back there talking. Hey, you big guy with the glasses on. I don't have, I'm telling you.
Deposit Insurance Corporation.
What's that?
FDIC.
FDIC. Oh, no, that's the Federal Reserve. FDIC. Okay, I'm talking about you. We just met right a few minutes ago. You know my brother at UMass? Yes. Okay, my brother played basketball for UMass, University of Massachusetts, and you're kind of tall. Did you play basketball too?
Yes.
Or maybe, oh no, I won't go there. Well, let me get back to Mike, because I've known him the longest, and I just met the guy from FDIC. I do want to thank Mike for his leadership as president of Connecticut People's United Bank, and that's the Northern Connecticut. Mike, I know that your success has certainly been well earned, and as an institutional customer, I commend you for your bank's commitment to excellence in delivering banking services that meets the needs of Northern Connecticut and indeed our fellow citizens throughout the state. This one last comment. I want to wish you continued good performance in the management of short-term investments. I do that as an institutional customer, and my wishes for continued good performance pertains to our interests. And I know you'll do that. So thank you. I've got this little cold, so I'm just gonna get better as I get wound up. Let me start off and say that it's great to be here in the company of such a dynamic group. And once again, I want to connect the dots. I understand Lou Golden's in the house. Hey there, Lou. Now, we go back in the day, too, and we were partners, a part of the founders of the Jumpstart Coalition. And that was sort of back in the day. We did a lot of good things in promoting financial education throughout the state. So it's good to see you here, Lou. I have long held the opinion that by far, one of the best investments we can make is in our children. And that is what today's summit is really all about. It's about making financial education higher priority, one that stacks up to other states. You know, it's about time we stacked up to other states, and ensures that Connecticut children have the necessary foundation to make critical decisions about their future financial well-being. It is about a moral imperative and an economic necessity. So I thank all of you for your commitment to the cause and for all that you do and do so well in making a positive difference in the lives of our fellow citizens here in the great state of Connecticut, and especially our young people. Let me also express my appreciation to the Connecticut Jumpstart Coalition, headed by President Chris Lee, Board Member Marcy LaBelle, and everyone involved in planning today's summit and bringing us all together. Now, I can speak with firsthand knowledge about the exemplary work of coalition members in promoting the financial fitness of our young people. Their dedication to this worthy cause is second to none, which is precisely why the Connecticut Treasury is quite honored to serve as their fellow co-host of the 2015 Financial Literacy Summit. Now, of course, none of this could have been possible without the steadfast support of our summit sponsors. So I especially want to thank our lead sponsor, People's United Bank, and all of our sponsors who are here today for the generosity of your financial support. You know, what a wonderful demonstration of responsible corporate citizenship and model citizens. I, for one, always like to encourage you to keep it up. And thanks also to those of you who have generously donated your expertise and your time to present at the pre-summit workshops. Now, I've got the scoop. You were informative, I understand, and very engaging. Let me also extend a warm welcome to Laura Levine, National Director of the Jumpstart Coalition, and Jack, okay, get this right, Kaskowski, okay, CEO of Junior Achievement USA. Now, your presence makes this summit that much more special, and Jack, we certainly look forward to hearing from you. We know that you will be just as informative and enlightening and sharing your experience as it relates to financial education at the national level in the same way that Laura did. So thank you both for being here. Now, you know, as far back as 2 centuries ago, our leaders pointed out the importance of financial literacy. And I was scratching my head, what were they doing? You know, this was really back in the 1700s, late 1700s. I mean, I know we didn't, I don't think, did we have a stock market? We certainly didn't have hedge funds, and we certainly didn't have venture capital. And I know that when I became treasurer of the city of Hartford back in, it was a while ago, let's see, I can't even remember. I think it was late 1980s. We did have a lot of exposure to the stock market. We were one of the few pension funds in the country that didn't have all of our money in paying stock. That's how far you went in the stock market, was to put it in your local banks. Not that I have any problems with the local banks. I love them. Give them more cash. Ben Franklin, back then, this is what he wrote: "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." Fast forward, much later in this century, Ben Bernanke, the former Federal Reserve Chairman, made it clear that financial literacy is not just some abstract concept. He pointed out how illiteracy contributed to the meltdown of financial markets in the Great Recession. I can vouch for that. In light of the problems that have arisen in the subprime mortgage market, said Ben, we are reminded of how critically important it is for individuals to become financially literate at an early age so that they are better prepared to make decisions and navigate an increasingly complex financial marketplace. I believe that was Ben's call to action to all of us to ensure that the youth of today are prepared to thrive in that increasingly complex marketplace. Now, that is as true today as it was then, which begs the question, when will financial education for Connecticut students become a must? Everybody raise your hands at the same time. Financial education has been a critical component of the Treasurer's work since the day I took office, because as Connecticut's chief elected financial official, I see the financial fitness of our state's youth as tied to the long-term sustainability of our state's economy. Now make no mistake, the stakes are high for us on this issue here in Connecticut. Now, I am a numbers person, but I didn't bring those with me today because I didn't want to bore you. But I would tell you that, and I didn't want to steal Mike's thunder, but I will tell you that as we look at the trajectory since the first annual meeting of the coalition in 2006, I would tell you, if you're going to try to find it, we would probably need a magnifying glass. That's how much the needle has moved on that issue. In Connecticut, so let me move on. Let me just move on and say, so where do we go from here? First, we should acknowledge that we made some progress this year with the passage of Public Act 15138, an act concerning financial literacy education, which directs the State Board of Education to include financial literacy in the curriculum materials that it provides educators around the state. Now, I applaud Senator Ted Kennedy, who championed this legislation, and the members of the coalition that led the fight for its passage. And I commend the State Board as well for quickly certifying a financial literacy curriculum. Now, some legislators may think our work is done, that it's now done. Because we now have this bill that has been signed into law. We know better. Our next challenge is to ensure that this curriculum is part of every student's education. And yes, I believe I'm preaching to the choir, so please bear with me for a few more moments. It's high time for us to move financial literacy higher on our educational list to do. To retool our efforts, reinvigorate our conviction, and collectively work to make financial education in Connecticut a must. As educators, policymakers, businessmen and women, and as parents. All interested in succeeding generations, we have a strong common interest. And it goes beyond our young people to our economic success as a state. 9 years ago, at the first annual meeting of the Connecticut Jumpstart Coalition, I said, in my view, a solid grounding financial matters has become a virtual prerequisite for success. And our goal must be for every child to acquire the financial savvy that their future will demand. This is especially true with our most at-risk children, many of whom are not learning these crucial lessons at home. They are certainly not the only ones, but too often, kids in urban or poor communities simply do not have a way to pull themselves up and out of the economic restraints that hold them down. But by teaching them to take charge of their financial future, we can give them the tools and help them develop the financial capability to break the cycle of poverty. Regardless of whether the community is urban or suburban or rural, the challenge is clear. No child in Connecticut should graduate from high school without a sound understanding of the basics of personal financial management. Now, make no mistake, I appreciate the need to address our state's government's looming fiscal challenges, and to do so in a responsible manner. And I'm not interested in unfunded mandates, but we cannot permit the economic clouds to obscure the imperative to step up our game in advocating for the establishment, let's say, of a financial blueprint. One that will support the development and implementation of a sustainable education model. One that will ensure that before the cap and gowns goes on every student in Connecticut, they will have the opportunity to learn Personal Finance 101. Before I close, let me say that we also need to do more in advocating or tackling college affordability and ensure that our young people have access to a higher education through savings programs like CHED. And speaking of CHED, for an increasing number of Connecticut families, you need to know that CHED is indeed making a difference. We passed $1 billion in withdrawals. This is not the total size of the CHED assets under management. This is what has been withdrawn since the CHED College Savings Program was revamped in 2001. And at that time, we retained one of the premier nonprofit financial services organizations on Wall Street to invest the college saving program assets. And that's TIA-CREF, who is one of the sponsors of this summit today. So, CHED is more affordable and accessible, and today, total assets under management, okay, they haven't been withdrawn, now stands at $2.4 billion. So, let me end here on an even better note from the prism of the Treasury. Even a revenue-generating
agency like the Connecticut Treasury suffers from budget cuts. Can you believe that? I try to tell them, like, only 2.5% of our general fund comes from our expenses come from the general fund. Most of our expenses are covered by the fiduciary funds. But they still cut. There are no sacred cows in our state government. And as a result, the state treasurer's office had a very weak bench. Not as strong when Lou was very, very active, and we were running around the state and had lots of resources. Right, Lou? Well, so somebody had said to me the other day, Denise, you need a director of financial education. And what happened was, that position used to be filled by, is Carol here today? Okay, she's not here. And we got her from Bank of America when they downsized. And after they saw her produce a couple of years in the Treasury, they took her back. But that's okay, because we have a new director of financial education. Her name is Emily, and I'm going to try to pronounce your name right. Jornberg. Okay, she would say I was right, even if I was wrong, because it's called, what is it called? Brown nose. Okay, all right, all right, you got that right. So, the reason, Emily, would you like to stand up for a minute? And I know that Emily assisted in planning for this summit, and she is on the board of the Jumpstart Coalition. And guess what? Because of Emily and because of her energy, we are fired up and ready to go. So I look forward to working with all of you to achieve real progress where it remains out of reach and bring Connecticut closer to making financial fitness of our youth a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you.